Sarawak Legislative Assembly passes bill on Chief Minister's designation to Premier. State Constitution Amendment passed and China celebrates Lantern Festival in rich traditions. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Zainuddin and this is TVS Nightline. The Sarawak Legislative Assembly, or DUN, has passed the bill to amend state constitution to change the designation of Chief Minister to Premier. The bill was passed in the DUN sitting that is ongoing from 14 to 16 of February. The bill, which was tabled by Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Minister Datuk Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, was passed with the support of 67 members of the August House after a second round of voting by show of hands. The bill also involves amending the term assistant ministers in the Sarawak Constitution to deputy ministers. Earlier, a total of 16 state assemblymen were debating on the bill, where 12 assemblymen from Gabungan Party Sarawak (GPS) rendered their full support to the amendment, while 4 opposition representatives went to oppose the bill. GPS representatives also wanted the federal government to recognize the Premier title, including ensuring that priority is given to Sarawak's Premier over other states' Chief Minister during ceremonies and official meetings. The special status of Sarawak needs to be reflected in the manner different from other states in the Federation of Malaysia. The recently passed bill to change the title of Sarawak's Chief Minister to Premier, a step towards regaining and achieving all that is listed under Malaysia Agreement 1963.
The recent amendment to the Federal Constitution restores the spirit originally contemplated by the parties to the Malaysia Agreement 1963, or AMA 63, and that is, when Sarawak agreed to be a party in the formation of Malaysia, it was intended that Sarawak retains its status as one of the 3 regions, namely Federation of Malaya, Sabah and Sarawak, that form the new Federation of Malaysia. This puts Sarawak as one of the 3 regions and is to be regarded not with the same status as the other component states in the Federation of Malaya.
Currently, Article 7A of the Sarawak Constitution provides the designation of assistant ministers to assist the Chief Minister and ministers to discharge their duties and functions. In view of the responsibilities that they hold and exercise, Karim said it is necessary to reflect the proper designation and style from that of Assistant Minister to Deputy Minister.
Hence, it is proposed that the designation of, quote, Assistant Minister, unquote, be restyled as, quote, Deputy Minister, unquote, to better reflect their functions and responsibilities.
The bill tabled by Karim was in accordance to the Constitution Amendment Act 2022, Act A1642, which came into force on February 11. Karim also said that once the definition of federation in the Federal Constitution has been amended, the said definition in the State Constitution should also be amended.
Therefore, to be consistent with the new interpretation of, quote, the Federation, unquote, in the Federal Constitution, it is necessary that the definition of the Federation in the State Constitution be amended accordingly.
The change in terms or terminology for a title is not something new, as it has also been practiced in other countries. Political analyst Dr. Janiri Amer said the amendments reflects the form and and essence of the amendment to the Federal Constitution. Dr. Janiri is in the opinion that the title Premier or Prime Minister is not suitable to be used in Sarawak.
Saya fikir kalau nak diterjemahkan Premier itu kepada Perdana Menteri adalah tidak sesuai dalam konteks negara persekutuan kerana kita sudah ada Perdana Menteri. Jadi saya fikir mengambil kira maksud kamus Perdana yang diterbitkan pada tahun 2020 antara makna yang terkandung ataupun ditakrifkan dalam kamus Dewan yang tebal itu ialah yang paling penting, yang paling utama, besar dan semasa dan juga bendahara. Jadi saya fikir kalau kita mengambil kira takrifan dalam kamus Dewan Perdana itu dan juga dari segi hukum tata bahasa dan nahu yang mungkin paling sesuai istilah digunakan untuk Premier untuk bahasa Melayu ialah Menteri Perdana. Jadi Menteri Perdana maksudnya menteri sama juga dengan Menteri Besar tapi Menteri Perdana itu merujuk pada menteri yang paling utama, paling penting. Jadi kedudukan Ketua Menteri diberi gelaran Menteri Perdana. Jadi saya fikir mengambil kira semua perkembangan dan juga semua faktor, langkah yang telah diambil ini adalah berpatutan dengan semangat dan perubahan status negeri Sarawak ekoran daripada tindakan yang telah dilakukan di peringkat Perlembagaan Persekutuan tempoh hari.
Meanwhile, according to Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia UKM Media and Communication Centre lecturer Dr. AMAR Reza, there are several other things that need to be done by the state government following the amendment of the bill.
Perkara tersebut adalah tentang undang-undang perbekalan. Jadi ini adalah sebenarnya aspek yang turut perlu diberikan tumpuan kerana ini akan menentukan masa hadapan terutamanya daripada aspek penggunaan kewangan dan juga pembelanjaan fiskal di negeri Sarawak itu sendiri. Namun berkenaan dengan penggantian perkataan Ketua Menteri kepada perkataan Premier ini, jadi saya harapkan jika ia diluluskan di dalam perbahasan pada hari ini, ia dapat memberikan manfaat dan seterusnya mungkin lebih meletakkan Sarawak untuk mendapatkan hak yang diingini oleh mereka bagi memastikan kemaslahatan rakyat diberikan keutamaan. Jadi tidak kiralah sama ada kita melakukan pindaan terhadap perlembagaan untuk menukarkan terma ini, tetapi yang lebih penting, hakikat yang lebih utama adalah untuk meletakkan kemaslahatan rakyat. Ini termasuklah kemaslahatan dalam konteks ekonomi, terutamanya apabila kerajaan GPS sendiri telah diberikan mandat yang lebih besar. Jadi saya harapkan ada kesinambungan daripada pindaan perlembagaan ini jika diluluskan dan kesinambungan tersebut perlulah memfokuskan kepada aspek meningkatkan keupayaan ekonomi masyarakat dan juga rakyat negeri Sarawak. Terutamanya apabila kerajaan negeri Sarawak sendiri melalui Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari meletakkan untuk Sarawak menjadi sebuah negeri maju pada 2030. Apabila perkara ini disasarkan ataupun diselaraskan dalam satu landasan yang sama,
Now, in the same development, the Interpretation Amendment Bill 2022 was unanimously passed at the State Legislative Assembly today. With the passing of the bill, children of mixed marriages can now be considered as a native if one of their parents is a native. The bill, presented by the Assistant Minister for Law, MA63, and Federal State Relations, Datuk Sharifah Hasidah Said Aman Ghazali said it is timely for the matter to be implemented.
Yeah, it does not matter whether the parent is the mother or the father. So itulah yang terbaik. It does not matter whether it's the man or the woman who is a native. As long as dia marry somebody non-native, anak akan jadi native juga.
She said the amendments, which will be gazetted immediately, will change the definition of native people in Sarawak, which is no longer subject to the provisions of the Federal Constitution. The amendment was made in basis to add 12 additional races in the schedule of the Interpretation Ordinance and will affect the recent amendment to Clause (6)(a) of Article 161A of the Federal Constitution. The list of 12 racial additions included in the proposed amendment are Bagatan, Bakong, Bemali, Berawan, Dali, Lakiput, Jati Mirie, Narom, Saaban, Tatau, Tring, and Vai. Sarawak has been called to consider reviewing its oil royalties from 5% to 10%, as provided under the Part 5 of the 10th Schedule of the Federal Constitution. At the same time, acquiring an increase of the special grant to Sarawak under Part 4 of the same schedule.
This additional revenue is vital to the development of Sarawak state infrastructure.
He said this during his debate on the Constitution of the State of Sarawak Amendment Bill 2022 during the State Legislative Assembly Dun sitting on Tuesday. Meanwhile, as equal partners in the Federation, TIONG also urged to demand for decentralization of real autonomy power from the federal government. He said this to resolve issues relating to citizenship for stateless children, education, security and border control, immigration, and public health. Following the amendments to the Federal Constitution, Sarawak must now make the relevant amendments to the state constitution.
Let the people reap the true benefit of this amendment to the Federal Constitution. Therefore, I move for autonomy to be granted to the Borneo State in line with the spirit of MA 63, particularly in the explosion of petroleum, education, healthcare, and taxes, and levy to be granted to Sarawak.
It is time for another review of the existing seat allocations. Considering Sarawak's growing population and rapid development, Dudong Assemblyman Dato Sri Tiong King Sing said this is to ensure that elected representatives can continue to take care of the people's welfare.
With our growing population and rapid development, it is time for us to review the existing numbers on the cabinet and also coming to the additional parliament seat, including the state seat, and whether it is true to allow our representatives to continue to take care and welfare of the people comprehensively and ensure their livelihoods are not ignored. Clearly, Sarawak is a rather unique state, and one constituency could be the size of the other state. Therefore, with a greater autonomy, we should make the most effectively adjustment for the interests of the people of Sarawak.
He added that Sarawak must also strive to implement these proposals towards decentralization of autonomy powers by passing the appropriate resolutions in the August House or by amending the related portions of the state constitution.
This effort must be done with the objective of Sarawak first, for the benefit of the people of Sarawak. Matters involving the interests and rights of the people of Sarawak must be prioritized.
Besides the economy and education, Tiong said the fields that the young generation are interested in, including sports, must also be a benefit and priority to the state. The Sarawak government remains committed in ensuring environmental sustainability despite of its rapid infrastructure development, forging new alliances on executing initiatives to further improve and enhance the sustainability of forests and the environment.
Sarawak will continue our collaboration with past and present partners. At the same time, we will explore and welcome new alliances with other interested parties to further improve and enhance the sustainable forest management agenda in Sarawak.
Awang added that the forest management in Sarawak is challenging due to its geographical and topographical characteristics with the existence of multiple rivers and steep mountains, which are natural constraints in ensuring forestry activities are implemented in accordance with the Sustainable Forest Management SFM guidelines.
To address this constraint, the state government is using state-of-the-art technology extensively in all aspects of management, enforcement, and the collection of timber tax over the past 2 decades. In fact, the applications of technology forms one of the Forest Department's Sarawak's main thrusts to increase effectiveness in the management and conservation of forest resources, research, and land use planning.
At the same time, Awang Tengah also urged the government to set a target in ensuring the state-owned land is fully cultivated.
Under PCDA's 2030, Sarawak set a target to certify 4.5 million hectares of its long-term forest timber licenses and 178,000 hectares of forest plantation. This proved the seriousness and commitment of the Sarawak government in spearheading the sustainable management of forestry sector.
Itu pun saya bawa dia untuk cuba-cuba dia lah kalau dia minat. Untuk serapkan dia ke masa tu kan ada pemilihan untuk masuk ke Wakil Sarawak.
Kali ujung-ujung cuba pada ringan las-las. Ya jadi minat sampai dia tu.
Seboleh-bolehnya semua masuk anak-anak. Daripada saya bapa dia masuk powerlifting sampai anak. Kalau boleh lah.
Kalau tak membawa saya ke sukan powerlifting ni mungkin saya tak tahu dunia sukan.
Welcome back. Now, 2 children aged 3 and 5 were among the 4 illegal immigrants detained during the Ops Benteng in Lubuk Antu today. The family of 4 were traveling in a 4-wheel drive. The presence of 3 other skippers were thwarted from entering Sarawak at around 4:07 a.m. The vehicle, which was traveling in a suspicious manner, was stopped for inspection at about 3.8 kilometers from the Malaysia-Indonesia border. According to the Malaysian 1st Division Infantry in a statement, further inspection found that the suspect had no valid travelling documents. The suspects were arrested and handed over to the Lubuk Antu District Police Headquarters for further investigations. The operations team also seized a 4-wheel drive vehicle with 5 units of mobile phone at an estimated total value of 98,350 ringgit. Meanwhile, the statement also stressed that the army will always remain vigilant and committed to maintain the nation's security and sovereignty is protected. Malaysian Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, who is currently on a 2-day official visit to Brunei Darussalam, had an audience with the Sultan of Brunei, Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah, at Istana Nurul Iman in Bandar Sri Begawan today. Accompanied by his wife Datin Sri Muhaini Zainal Abidin, Ismail Sabri arrived at the palace at 10:45 a.m. Prime Minister Ismail Sabri held a 4-eye meeting with Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah, which lasted about 30 minutes. During the visit, Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah's wife, Raja Istri Pengiran Anak Saleha, was in attendance. Also present were Malaysian Foreign Ministry Dato Sri Saifuddin Abdullah, Federal Territories Minister Dato Sri Shahidan Kasim, and Malaysian High Commissioner to Brunei, Dato Raja Reza Raja Zain Shah. The Malaysian delegation was then feted to a luncheon hosted by the ruler. Ismail Sabri arrived here last night and was accorded an official welcoming ceremony at the international airport. This is his first visit to Brunei after being appointed as Malaysia's 9th Prime Minister in August last year. Malaysia and Brunei have agreed in principle to implement the Air and Land Vaccinated Travel Land or VTL initiative for cross-border movement between the 2 countries. Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the agreement was achieved as a result of discussions with the Sultan of Brunei today. Ismail Sabri added that a proposal was made for the implementation of 4 flights a week between Brunei and Malaysia when the VTL is carried out. Currently, there are only 2 flights a week between Kuala Lumpur and Bandar Sri Begawan, namely on Wednesday and Friday, as Brunei has yet to open its borders due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister said the relevant ministries would review the Standard Operating Procedures or SOPs for the purpose of implementing the VTL initiative. Malaysia had previously implemented the VTL with Singapore and has also agreed for the implementation of the initiative with Indonesia. The Prime Minister said, apart from that, the Sultan of Brunei agreed to recognize the use of MySejahtera and BRU Health in both countries to facilitate system integration and use by the people of Malaysia and Brunei. With that recognition, MySejahtera and BRU Health can be used in both countries. He said that this collaboration was also necessary to make cross-border travel easier for individuals from both nations. Umrah pilgrims who are eligible to receive compensation following the temporary postponement of Umrah travel are given until next month to open a Tabung Haji or TH savings account to receive the compensation. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Senator Dato Idris Ahmad said the period was extended because more than 1,000 pilgrims have yet to open a TH account, which is the sole medium to be used for the payment. He told reporters this after attending the opening ceremony of the state-level Multaka Murabbi Ummah at Al-Azim Mosque here today, officiated by Melaka Chief Minister Dato Sri Sulaiman Muhammad Ali. Also present was the Department of Islamic Development JAKIM Deputy Chief Executive of Operations Dato Dr. Sirajuddin Suhaimi. Idris said that he had also asked Tabung Haji to notify its branch offices around the country to make it easier to create Tabung Haji savings account, which would speed up the payout process. It was reported that pilgrims who were affected by the temporary postponement of Umrah travel would each receive 1,671 ringgit in compensation to be paid out on February 18. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC, had submitted a list of 8,027 pilgrims who were eligible to receive the compensation, and out of that number, nearly 1,000 individuals still do not have Tabung Haji savings account.
Hidup tu si perlu nak stres-stres tau. Aku scam, kau pening scammer. Aku rembat dekat mana ni? Tahu atik, mulut masin gila, doa aku pening kena ambush. Kita tu nak minta tolong si atasan. Bukannya tolong, kena anok kan dah.
Kak Sik kuat bila tahu Abang Rai nanti tak dah set dah.
Puncak Mega will be mine.
Are you sure that you can bring such change into this company?
Just wait and see.
Jom bersama saya Khairul Nizam Naha mengembara dan meneroka keindahan alam di bumi Kenyalak.
Mengambil masa 1 jam 30 minit di plan dengan TIONG Food Fitness.
Banyak jalan tengah dan kiri-kiri pasal baru tu dulu.
Setiap Isnin jam 10.30 malam hanya di saluran 122 Astro dan My TV. Jom ninjau.
Thank you for staying with us. At least one person was killed in an ill-fated train collision in the southwest Bulgarian capital, Munich. The collision took place at a train station on Monday afternoon.
Die Züge sind hier auf einem eingleisigen Gleis unterwegs gewesen, sind frontal gegeneinander gestoßen. Mit vor Ort ist jetzt hier die Feuerwehr mit mehreren Einsatzfahrzeugen, die bei den Bergung hier der Personen, der Betroffenen hier verantwortlich sind. Nach unserem aktuellen Kenntnisstand haben wir es mit 14 verletzten Personen zu tun. Leider müssen wir auch eine tote Person vermelden. Es befinden sich aber noch bis zu 80 weitere Personen jetzt hier so in Sichtung. Das waren sämtliche Fahrgäste dieser beiden S-Bahnen. Wir können zum aktuellen Zeitpunkt noch nicht gesichert sagen, was zum Tod der Person hier geführt hat. Wir haben, wie gesagt, das Aufeinanderprallen von zwei Zügen hier an diese Örtlichkeit. Nähere Angaben kann ich zum aktuellen Zeitpunkt jetzt noch nicht machen.
Due to the large rescue operation, a part of the rail track had to be completely closed temporarily. Now, to celebrate the fast-approaching Lantern Festival, China has staged a variety of activities and maintained their age-old traditions alive, with eye-catching folk performances, light shows, and serving traditional delicacies across the country. Tuesday marks this year's Lantern Festival, a 2,000-year-plus traditional festival falling on the 15th day of the first month on the Chinese lunar calendar. Local villages in Nuanquan Town, Yu County, in North China's Hebei Province, perform the thrilling folk art Da, which literally means making iron flowers by spraying burning melted iron to stimulate display of fireworks. Nuanquan Town has an over 500-year history of enjoying iron flowers, which was listed as one of the National Intangible Heritage last year.
录了视频，可以回去发给家人和朋友们一起看，非常的漂亮，然后场面也非常的宏大，特别的有地方特色。
Over 3,000 festival lanterns have illuminated the night sky over an ancient street in capital city Lanzhou in northwest China's Gansu province, providing a visual feast for tourists to enjoy the holiday atmosphere. People in Shexian County, Huangshan City of East China's Anhui province, have started their annual fish-shaped lantern parade, a local special folk art with an over 600-year history since Sunday.
就预祝今年年年有余，风调雨顺。
In Wanzai County, East China's Jiangxi province, rich festival traditional activities such as fireworks displays, beating drums, and performing dragon and lion dances have been held to welcome the festival. In Pingxi, New Taipei city of southeast China's Taiwan, people have released kite lanterns to celebrate the Lantern Festival and show their best wishes for the new year. The main kite lantern of this year's festival features a 6-meter-long, cute tiger cartoon. Commemorating the Day of Love, Peruvian four-legged friends tied the knot on Monday, February 14, in a massive dog wedding in Lima during the Valentine's Day celebration. Mass weddings are common in Peru, especially on Valentine's Day, a way for Peruvians who cannot afford a wedding of their own to celebrate and also ensure their union is legally recognized. Now, mass dog weddings are just a twist on the tradition.
En este día tan especial que es el Día del Amor y la Amistad, hemos casado a 8 parejas de perritos en este lindo ambiente y también se han llevado su certificado de unión. Ha sido un momento muy agradable que hemos tenido con los dueños, ¿no? Que han traído a sus amiguitos de 4 patas.
Dressed in Andean-inspired clothing, Cynthia Ceballos' dogs were the winners of Lima's Matrican, a play on Spanish words for wedding and dog, a local competition celebrating Valentine's Day by dressing dogs as if they were about to get married.
Me gustó mucho, vi el matrimonio andino y dije, ¿por qué no puedo hacerlo yo con mis perritos, no? Entonces quise diseñarles y nada, somos familias cusqueños nosotros, vivimos del arte y nada, feliz y contenta otra vez, invitamos a todos y nada, feliz Día del Amor.
Some dogs were dressed in a more conventional attire, a bow tie for the dog groom, a white bell-shaped dress for the bride. Others were dressed in a colorful, summery attire, fit for the hot season in the southern hemisphere. The owners then helped their dogs sign their marriage papers by lifting their paws and pressing them on a paper. And that story concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. Once again, I'm Zainuddin, and it's been a pleasure.